Well, hello and welcome, everyone. We are so excited that you are here. I'm Susan Renee, certified coach and instructor here at Being True to You, and I'm the host for today's Insight Series session on Beyond the Psychedelic Experience, why integration is key to lasting transformation. And joining me today is Kelly Richards, an expert in psychedelic integration and transformational coaching, as one of our certified coaches and also one of our instructors here at Being True to You. Hello and welcome, Kelly.
Hey, Susan. Hi, everyone. Thrilled to be here and to discuss why integration is truly the key to long-lasting transformation after any life-changing experience.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Kelly. And this topic is just so relevant right now with the growing interest in psychedelics and personal transformation. And we have so much to cover in today's session. So, we will be exploring in this session the importance of integration, and we will be giving all of you actionable steps via our 5 step framework to apply in your own life. We'll also cover some practical activities to support integration today. So, with all of that to cover and more, let's dive in. And just a reminder to all of you here with us today, if you do have questions along the way, you can go over and drop them into the Q&A section of this session, and we will make sure to reserve time at the end to get all of your questions answered. So let's get started with the basics here, Kelly. What is integration and why is it so crucial?
Great question, Susan. At its core definition, integration is about making something whole again, joining and unifying the parts of a whole back together. It's something that totally applies to us as we go through these experiences. It's about taking the profound insights, whether from a psychedelic journey or any other sort of profound experience that's truly transformative for us in our lives, and then weaving that into our daily lives. It's about making those aha moments actionable and making them something that leads to real and sustainable change as opposed to having those bits of clarity and insights slip away over time.
Yes, thanks for that, Kelly. It makes a lot of sense. And so it's kind of like when we think about integration, it's kind of like planting the seeds, but then ensuring that they grow, right?
Exactly. Because it's not just about the breakthrough, but it's about what you do after. It can actually be about more about what you do after. As integration is really the key to making that expansive clarity stick and become part of your life.
Hmm. Yeah, I am such a huge fan of transfer or of integration, Kelly, and transformation. And I know we're all about both here at Being True to You. But let's quick just bust a myth for folks joining us today on psychedelics, because so often we encounter clients who believe, a psychedelic experience is the transformational experience. But can you educate us on why that maybe isn't entirely true?
Yeah, absolutely. One hugely important thing that we always highlight here as clients and trainees is just the fact that psychedelics, and like we said before, any transformative event, they're just tools and they're only one part of your transformation journey. It's the integration of the experience that really brings it all back together and making use of a variety of tools and practices that ensure that the actions get taken in your daily life. The new practices and patterns are implemented. And that's what leads to the lasting transformation of a life that feels good from every possible angle.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. And I think that really sets us up beautifully to talk about our next point in why integration matters. So, Kelly, why is it that some people like feel stuck after these profound experiences?
Yeah, so it's often just because the insights haven't actually been integrated. So we can think of integration as building a bridge between what you realize, those insights that you gain during the experience, and how you live. And without that bridge, it's easy to just fall back into old habits, old patterns, and maybe feel like you haven't actually moved forward like you wanted to after the experience.
So again, it's not just the experience that matters, whatever, be it a psychedelic experience or other transformative experience. It's really what happens next and what someone does ongoing, even after their experience.
Yeah, exactly. They experience plants the seed, but integration is what waters it.
Yes, and that's always such a beautiful metaphor for integration, watering the seeds that have been planted. So then let's talk a little bit, Kelly, about what happens when someone skips over integration. I'm guessing it's kind of like not taking care of those seeds that they just planted.
Yeah, exactly. When you skip over integration, it's like planting a seed and expecting a plant or flower to grow without any water, without any soil, without any sunlight, all of those properly nourishing conditions for growth. If you skip over integration, you lose that ability to maximize and really get what you can get out of a transformational experience, which is ultimately transforming your life, getting to a state that feels better to you, that feels more in alignment with your true self. And so you want to really take advantage of integration because otherwise you miss out on this huge opportunity to create new patterns and healthy habits in your life. That's the real magic and blessings that these experiences hold for us. All the insights in the world are not going to help you if you don't take the time to integrate them.
Yeah, that makes sense, Kelly. So, it really sounds like then without integration, a profound experience might not be so life-changing then.
Exactly.
Okay. So, well, now that we know what integration is and we know why it matters, let's get into our 5-step framework for our listeners today so they can use this for their own successful integration process. So, we do want to make sure that everyone here with us today gets this 5-step framework down for integration so they can turn all of their own insights into action. But let's make this practical, Kelly. So, what are the key steps in the integration process?
So there's 5 of them. What we have are first you receive the insights, and that's really about noticing everything the experience has to teach you. And this can be anything from big realizations and aha moments to the more subtle things like even colors or shapes or slight physical sensations that you notice. All of that is enormously useful content and it's uniquely relevant to you. It's all symbolism and meaning that's uniquely directed to you and your transformative process. Second step is processing those insights through reflection. What does that content that you got from your experience? What is that? What are those insights? What does that mean to you and for you? The third step is action. So that's kind of taking those lessons and insights and figuring out how do you apply them to your life? What are the steps that you take? Fourth, release. Release what no longer serves you. We're all carrying a lot of stuff, right? That just ends up kind of weighing us down. And these transformative experiences, and a big part of integration can be figuring out how you can consciously work at letting go of what is no longer serving you. And then finally, it's practice. Life is practice. It's turning these new habits into lasting routines that help you up level your life and your way of being.
Yeah, thanks for taking us through that, Kelly. And I really love that framework. But okay, now we know the steps. Can you maybe give us an example of what this could look like for someone and just kind of walk us through those steps?
Sure. So a great example, here's an example. So imagine someone realizes during a journey that they've been holding on to resentment from a past relationship. The first step to receive has already happened during the actual experience, although they might continue to get some additional insights in the hours, days, even weeks following. The next step of their integration would involve processing that information, perhaps journaling, further unpacking what's coming up for them based on what they received, and contemplating that, really being present with those insights. And then they could take this wisdom that they've gathered through the processing and turn it into action. So, in this example, maybe they identified a need to take action of maybe having a heartfelt conversation with this person, or maybe writing them a letter, just getting out what it is that they need to say, maybe to reach some closure. And then that fourth step of releasing, this person could create some sort of a little ritual for themselves that resonates. Maybe writing out all of the emotions or thoughts, repeated thoughts, ruminating thoughts that they have around this, that they're ready to let go of. And maybe in the process of doing that, some other stuff comes up and they realize it's not just resentment. Maybe there's some anger, there's some frustration, maybe there's some disappointment. As they go through this process, maybe deeper and deeper layers are going to reveal themselves to be released in addition to that top level emotion. And maybe in their ritual, they even burn this piece of paper or meditate on a visualization of these energies kind of beginning to just dissipate and disappear so that they're no longer carrying that. And then finally, practice comes in. They may have to continually practice allowing emotions around peace and contentment and presence with their current situation tied to this past relationship. And maybe even beginning to dig into elements of gratitude of how did this relationship actually serve them in some way? Did it teach them new things about themselves? Did it help them to grow and evolve and expand as a human being in some way? And the practice becomes this active, evolving, kind of living part of your life that you need to stay present for. Like, how is this showing up for me today? And how can I continue to walk the walk that I've committed to help myself transform in this area?
Yeah, what a great example, Kelly. Thank you so much for like just taking us through that 5-step framework and really how someone could work with it. I think those examples are always so helpful. Now, again, I mentioned here at Being True to You, we're big fans of also taking a holistic approach to integration. And so, with that, there are some key areas for focus as people are working through integration. So let's go ahead next and look at these focus areas with everyone. So, Kelly, again, we know integration is working on many levels, for someone's transformation. So, can you walk us through these key focus areas for integration that someone would, really want to be thoughtful of as they go through their process?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love breaking them down into buckets. It helps us to kind of wrap our minds around what it is that we need to be focusing on. So, mentally, it's really about restructuring thought patterns. Emotionally, learning to process and flow and be present with your feelings. Spiritually, it's about connecting to your deeper sense of purpose and that feeling of kind of inner alignment and presence that is truly you and is truly you feeling connected. And physically, it's about aligning your lifestyle, your habits, your environment, all of that with the insights that you've gained.
Yeah, and again, this holistic approach, it really is just so comprehensive, right? It looks at all the angles and it truly, I think, leads to a full spectrum transformation. Can you again, I think it'd be helpful for everyone. Can you again talk us through an example of how maybe someone would focus on, in on these areas and how these areas could come into play for someone? Or maybe even how like the areas influence each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So for this, I'll use a personal example because the stories that are most familiar to us are often the easiest to tell. So for me, a while ago, a long time ago, I had a really powerful medicine journey that really gave me the message that the work I was doing in the corporate world, while it was challenging and I was making good money, wasn't where I was going to find the kind of fulfillment that ultimately I knew I was seeking. I was feeling unfulfilled and I was seeking that sense of purpose. And so the message from my experience was you need to, your path is dedicating yourself to doing something that feels fulfilling, that is a life of service and draws on your talents. And amazing clarity and insight. And I walked away feeling like, oh, wow, this is it. But it's a process of integrating it, right? It's not just that insight. So it's okay, well, going through my mental process first of what are the thoughts that I'm having around this? What are the thought patterns that are maybe keeping me stuck or have kept me stuck? How do I shift those? Emotionally, what are the emotions that are coming up around this? And what's that wave, right? Because there's excitement and a feeling of lightness and forward momentum. And then there's also emotions that come up around maybe some resistance, fear of the unknown, self-doubt. So like really being mindful and working through those and where is all of that coming from? And then feeling, like this message from my experience was a very deeply spiritual one. was also dropping back into my spiritual practices even more deeply, meditation, journaling, just all of those inner practices, breath work, things like that, that really help me tune into that deeper sense. And then physically as well. And the clearer the vessel, the
Hmm.
clearer all of those other processes. It really is, it's called holistic for a reason, right? It's all super interrelated. And so everything was really kind of present there. And I think for me, that was definitely touching on all four of those. Sometimes an experience is about, maybe more focused on some of these categories than others. But for me, in this one, it was all of them. I think what's important when you're integrating your own experience is being mindful of what those four categories are and understanding what elements of each of those are wanting to come up for you and making sure you place the proper amount of attention and focus on them.
Yeah, thank you for that, Kelly. What a wonderful example. And, I love hearing more about your personal journey. And I'm sure, a lot of that even resonated, with our guests here today. So, with these focus areas, and as you were kind of even talking through your example, you mentioned a few activities for integration. So let's go ahead next and talk about activities that folks can really bring into their integration process to help them along on their journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love all of the integration activities, and it's something that I love. We love teaching about it being true to you and working with our clients on really identifying the right activities for each person's unique integration process. To get started, the one that I've found most helpful for myself and with clients is journaling. Really allows you to kind of capture those insights, and then it's an active process because through your journaling, you're able to kind of go and touch back on what what was coming up in the past and over time and kind of track that. That's really, really helpful. It helps you to track your growth. And then mindfulness practices like meditation can really help to ground you, creating also space for new insights to drop in. We, in our modern world, our minds tend to move at warp speed. And so when we can kind of slow them down, it's really remarkable what kind of profound insight and dots that can get connected when you're really mindful. Expressing through art and music and movement is another really, really great way of kind of delving into your creative process or into conscious movement, really helpful for processing emotions and digging into deeper layers. Vision setting is another great way to help you align your daily actions with your long-term goals and kind of keep you present with that. Couple other things. I mean, man, we could do just talking about integration activities. We could spend a whole hour just talking on just that. But a couple other ones I want to make sure I mention are spending time in nature with animals, breath work, as well as individualized techniques that can bring your awareness to particular thought patterns and help you build new, more supportive habits. So, yeah, I mean, really, it comes down to figuring out what is going to support you in the integration and the transformation you're looking to achieve.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kelly. And I agree. And maybe we will in the future do a whole session on just integrative activities because there are so many. But I love what you were saying, with the multitude of options that are available, there really are just so many ways to ensure that the activities for integration do align with someone on their own individual journey. So, with the multitude of options, people can kind of pick and choose like what feels best for their own process. We know with all of these activities, though, it can be a bit hard, a little challenging, maybe for an individual to figure out exactly like which ones could be the best for them as they implement change and work on their integration. So
Mhm.
let's quickly next speak on the role of coaching in the integration process. Okay, Kelly. So when someone needs like some guidance and some support, on their integration, how does integration coaching and like how would an integration coach help?
Yeah, so an integration coach can support an individual's integration process by providing structure, accountability, what they need to really stay consistent with their process, and also offering tailored guidance around helping you navigate challenges that come up. Because sometimes a practice that you know could be really, really helpful for you, there might be some internal resistance around that, working through that, really being able to land in what it is that's going to help you through your process, and just having that support at every single step of the journey, because integration is a process. There are times when it's really, really expansive and feeling really good, and there are times when it feels more challenging, and having that support every step along the way, because that's when we talk about doing the work, that's doing the work, right? So, and having an accountability partner is amazing as well, because we can all have the best of intentions in so many areas of our life, but let's be honest, life's complicated. Life gets in the way. So having someone that you really trust, that can keep you accountable to what you know is for your highest good is so helpful.
Yeah, what I love about sharing this, Kelly, is really just to stress the importance of the fact that someone doesn't have to go on this journey alone, right? It really sounds like it can be so helpful to like have a coach along in the process for the integration.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Big believers in working with a coach, and I've had wonderful experiences with coaches for myself personally. So, speaking from experience, um, you tend to make faster progress when you have support and guidance along the way, no matter how dedicated and driven and motivated you are. It's really, really helpful to just have that support. And I think we can all, also notice how that's when we have support in our personal lives, things are easier. When we have support in our deeply inner transformational process, that's really helpful also. Another thing too is just getting trained as an integration coach can be a hugely beneficial component to your own transformation process, because you're learning, deeper and deeper layers of what are these tools and what are these practices, and that can be great for you, for yourself, as well as if you're looking to ultimately help and guide others, because this work feels really exciting to you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kelly. Two things I'll just also agree with you on there. Man, working with a coach in my own process has been so helpful, for the accountability, for the ongoing support. And then, yeah, I think as we go through training, as integration coaches, it really helps us on our own personal journeys too, just to better navigate. So thank you for sharing both of those. And before we get into our Q&A today, let's go ahead, Kelly, and just like wrap up and quickly review like why integration really is the key for lasting transformation.
All right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, can you just provide us like a quick review and summarize what we covered here today?
absolutely. So now know what integration is. It's about making something whole again, bringing that sense of wholeness to yourself and your life. And it's really, really critical to bring in for your transformational experiences, because it's that integration of all of the pieces and making that whole. That's what leads to the lasting transformation. We talked about our 5-step framework of receiving, processing, acting, releasing, and then building practices, and how you apply that to the integration process. And then we talked about those 4 aspects of that holistic process, which really is, the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual, and how, just some various spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, practical activities you can do, those integration activities that you can bring in to support yourself in your integration process. Those things like journaling, mindfulness, art, creativity, and all of that. And then we finally wrapped up today with a bit on the role coaching can play.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Kelly. And yeah, I know we kind of wanted to just jam pack this session with information. And I just like thank you so much for what you've shared today with us. I know we're just like starting our insight series and scraping the surface on some of these things. We have so much more we're going to be going deep into as our insight series continues. But really, just thanks so much for everything you brought to us today, Kelly.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Susan. It's been a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, thanks. So before we do move to our Q&A, let's just quickly talk and share with everyone like what they could do to take a next step on their journey as it relates to integration. So, here at Being True to You, our passion for psychedelic integration and the transformational process has really inspired our work for the past 15 years. And it was the catalyst for our industry leading coach training program, which was the industry's first, and it is the longest running. So, if you are ready to explore what this could look like on a deeply personal and professional level, enrollment for our next cohort of our psychedelic integration and transformational coach training program is now open. So, if you are finding yourself like eager to be of service to others and you really want to join a community to build connection with other like-hearted individuals, who are passionate about integration and who are passionate about personal transformation, we would love to have you join us. So here today, like we have some links we're going to drop in for you so you can learn more and sign up. And you can always book a call with one of our enrollment specialists to get all of your questions answered as well.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with all of that. And integration after transformation or after transformative experiences is such a powerful tool for anyone going through major life changes at this really pivotal time in human history. And the skill set of integration offers so much. I'd be hard pressed to think of another skill set that has greater potential to help both oneself and everyone around you in being present, taking action, and really building lasting transformation in their lives.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kelly. I agree so much.